What's the hoopla, everyone? It's Hoopla here. Today guys, we're going to be sniping with an LMG. Now I've played Call of Duty since COD 4, and back on COD 4, I believe in attachment hierarchy. I believe the ACOG scope was a better choice than the red dot sight because of the last attachment you unlocked. So for the longest time I used the M16 with the ACOG scope. From that simple mistake I learned the ACOG scope was really good from firing from the hip. Then quick scoping was introduced. Everyone started putting the ACOG scope on the sniper rifle to again fire from the hip. Now I believe developers always have these ludicrous classes out there. These diamonds in the rough, so to say. It's our job to figure them out. It's our job to find out what these OP classes are. Now my whole approach to MW3 was to use the LMG. I've never really done that before. I believe the LMG is the most underrated class in this game. The funniest thing about this is you never hear anybody complaining or want an LMG to ever be nerfed. You always have people complaining about nerfing the FAMAS in the assault rifle class. You know, the P90 or whatever you want. In the SMG class, the MP5, so to say, the sniper rifles, etc. But no one ever complains about the LMGs. And I understand that. It's really hard to use a bulky gun, run around, be mobile on a small map. But let me tell you guys, there's a lot of diamonds in the roughs in the LMG field. The gun I'm using today is Princess Peach, aka the PKP Pechneg. This gun is really good. It takes on your enemies really fast. Now when you use the LMG, I immediately think you have to use grip on it, because by far this gun has a lot of recoil. Let's just put it this way, it has the ocean tide effect. Now the ocean tide effect is when you go to the beach, you put your stuff down, you go in the water. And in your water, you kind of drift away, you go from left to right and the current takes you out. And so where you think your stuff is, it's way over to your left. So they always tell you in the water to walk back to your left or kind of drift back in the direction. It's the same thing with the PKP Pechneg. It has a left to right recoil. However, if you go to Battlefield 3 and use this gun, it has the opposite. It has a down to up recoil. Which is just ironic to me. I mean, you think the two guns in two different games will be the same, and when you use this gun, I mean, it's really hard to be mobile. The best way I can describe this is like you're running in quicksand. And if you put extreme conditioning on, it's like you're running in water. And it's very hard to run in water. But if you go to Battlefield, it's very easy to be mobile with the LMG. So again, I'm not really sure what the developer's aspect was between these two guns at all. Now I already said I think grip was a really good choice to use an LMG because it helps reduce recoil, or kick, so to say, with the new proficiency added in this game. But I don't really like grip. I don't really like the iron sights on this gun, so I started using the red dot. Well, I don't really like the red dot. The red dot's pretty plain, and MW2 and MW3 is pretty cool back on COD 4. Then I went to the holographic sight, and the holographic sight's a really good choice for this gun. But I'm like, this isn't it. This is not the diamond in the rough, so I continue to go down the line. I decided to go back to my COD 4 experience and use the ACOG scope. The ACOG scope has lost its luster. It's not the same thing as COD 4. The dot's bigger on this ACOG scope. It's just not pretty. Back on COD 4 is more like a square circle, if that makes any sense to you guys. Now it's just a huge oval that's really distracting. So then I started using the infrared scope. And there it was, a diamond in the rough. Now the infrared scope is perfect. It's like you're sniping with an LMG. Now I'll admit this, the funniest thing about the infrared scope is I did not know you could hold down the left thumbstick and hold your breath like you're sniping. So for the longest time I was just using it to fire from the hip. Because unlike most LMG players out there, I'm not really sure how many they are out there, I'm actually mobile. I run around. I don't camp. I think camping is a huge epidemic in this game, and you'll never find me camping, at least in any of my gameplays. Of course you have to sound horse sometimes, you're patrolling areas, but I even stay away from that. I don't really care about getting a MOAB or anything like that. I know that may sound ludicrous to you all. I'm just here to have fun playing this game. Now the infrared scope, I mean, I finally learned that you could actually hold the breath, and you saw in the very beginning of this game how I just sniped those other people and I took them out very quickly. Now we already talked about the recoil on this gun, so you have to use burst fire. Now burst fire is very successful in Call of Duty. Look at the FAMAS, look at the M16, 3-round burst. Now in this game, people don't really like the FAMAS. I'm sorry, the Type 95. I do apologize, kinda got them confused. Yeah, my blunder. And so it's a burst gun. And if all your bursts are dead on, you're gonna take them out. Same thing with this LMG. The cool thing about the infrared scope, unlike using the red dot, is it helps with the reduced recoil. So you can still put the kick proficiency on to one, reduce the recoil, and then you have to hold your breath, and then you're sniping and take them out like burst fire. It just is a really good gun to use. Now you see me moving around on this map, and the only time I really die with the LMG is when I'm head to head with the person. I'm in panic knifing range. Because this gun has really bad sights when you're up close to someone. It's just really hard to shoot. I'm not really sure what it is. So then I thought I went back to my experiment, as I already said, back in COD 4 using the ACOG scope. I'm like, well, the infrared scope's also a big scope. Maybe that helps fire from the hip. Now you may be asking yourself, what perks should you use for this gun? Now in Tier 1, I think you need sleight of hand. I think sleight of hand's a must on any LMG. At least that's what my thinking was from Black Ops and the previous Call of Duties. For this one, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if blind eye would be a better solution. I know for a fact that scavenger is a waste on an LMG. You already have a big clip right now, you don't really need scavenger on it. Extreme conditioning is terrible for the PKP Pechneg. Because this gun, as I already said, it's like you're running in quicksand. If you put extreme conditioning on it, it's like you're running in water. Really not going to help you that much. There's better perks out there in Tier 1 to help you out. Now for perk 2 or Tier 2, whatever you would like to call it, I think quick draw is the way to go. You're already at a bigger disadvantage right now using this gun, so quick draw is the way to go. Hardline, if you can get those massive streaks, or if you're a big support player, I think it's great to put on there. If you're an Assassin Pro player, go out there with that, but I think quick draw is the best thing to use. Now for Tier 3 or perk 3, this is the one that's always been confusing, the one I've been experimenting the most with. So for the longest time I thought Stalker Pro was the way to go. But after reviewing my gameplay and watching it back and forth, I noticed I don't really aim down the sights that much. Of course I aim down the sights, but I'm not moving when I'm aiming down the sights. Because again, it's like you're running in quicksand, it's not going to help you. Imagine this. You're aiming on the sights, you're walking, it's like you're walking, like sleepwalking. Someone's going to take you out right away. So Stalker Pro's out. Then steady aim. Well, steady aim's okay. Really up close is great, but down away, you have so much recoil, it's not going to hit the person right away. And then it hit me, Marksman. The greatest thing about Marksman is you can see everyone on the map. Their name appears, you see them right away, as you saw in the very beginning of this clip. I took them out really quickly because I saw them pop up. And the coolest thing about the infrared scope is you can see everybody. Even those Assassin Pro players. Yes, I'm talking to you guys, Assassin Pro players. We can now see you. Because the great thing about Marksman is it shows your teammates as well as your enemies. And then when you're using the infrared scope and someone's like walking to you, you don't see anybody's name on it, then you know they're using Assassin Pro. I've seen a lot of people switch to Assassin's Pro. I'm not sure if that's because there's a lot of air support up. Because this game is really dumb by putting the support class in there, because EMPs and Juggernauts are being dropped every single game. And air support always seems to be up, so Assassin Pro is pretty much the most OP perk. But now using this combo, the infrared scope with a Marksman, you don't have to worry about Assassin Pro. Pretty much it's like a ghost walking right towards you in a love relationship and you just take them out. That's why I think this is the most underrated gun. Now I know I'd call the MG36 the most underrated gun, so I'm just going to call this one Diamond in the Rough. I think I found it. I think this is what the developers are trying to make you do.